Welcome back, everyone, to Instigate Success, building an ABA franchise. I am your host, as always, Jake Schoen, aka Jakey Muffins, here for episode 123. That's 123 of Instigate Success, the official podcast of your Hoosier State Instigators. I am back, and this week we'll just kind of get back into things. Probably dive into more next week and a little bit more put together. So I am back after a couple of weeks away of travels, vacation, and such. So I am back here again Friday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern, for foreseeable future. I shouldn't have any more weeks off for a while. So we got that covered. But we're back this week again. I'm going to cover some of the stuff I missed over the last few weeks. Of course, one of the big things I missed was the championship weekend for ABA in Atlanta. It was the weekend of the 10th through 12th, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 10th through 12th. That was like 2 weeks ago. And then last week was the first week of the full, like, true off season. Now we're second week into the off season for everything with the ABA. So a little bit of a slower news once we do get into that. But as far as what happened the past couple of weeks, we can go ahead and get caught up on that, and kind of see where things laid out for the ABA. So where we stood last time we met was the final four teams in the ABA. So in the East, we had the Buffalo Extreme. We had in the Central region, our region, the Nashville Aces. Out West, Silicon Valley Panthers. And down South, the Austin Bats. So if you remember, throughout the season, the Buffalo Extreme had been number one for, I believe, the vast majority of the season. Then at some point, they got tied with the number one spot. And then eventually they got jumped for that number one spot by Silicon Valley Panthers. Neither team lost a game throughout the season, though. They finished undefeated on the year. The Panthers and the Extreme, as well as the Nashville Aces, the representative from the Central region, also a top three ranked team. The only team with a loss going into the championship four was the Austin Bats, with just one loss on the record. Still one of the top five teams, if I'm not mistaken, as far as the final rankings in the ABA. And that led to a couple of matchups, which was going to be the Aces against the Extreme. That was one of the final four matchups, the semifinals, you could say. And then the other one is going to be obviously then the Silicon Valley Panthers against the Austin Bats. And that's going to be based off of the power rankings for the teams respectively, with the Panthers being the number one team, the Bats being the lowest ranked team, also the only team with a loss. Makes sense as far as the rankings go. And then the two in between would be the Extreme and then the Aces. So those two matched up against each other. If you had to ask me as far as who I would expect to win going into this, I think I kind of showed my hand a few times throughout it. I think, obviously maybe a little bit of bias being from, or at least studying up in, the upstate New York. Buffalo was probably the team I'd be leaning towards. And then if I had to go with the second choice, obviously, I guess the heart would go with the Nashville Aces to represent the Central region. So pretty much I was pulling for whoever won that game. So let's jump into what went down in those games. And we're going to jump over to Minotaur Media and use some of their cool graphics and stuff. And we'll see actually if they got stats after that. But Minotaur was actually they had representative down there in Atlanta for the game. So that was pretty cool. They were able to call the game. So congrats to them, and obviously well deserved. We've seen what Minotaur's done for not only this our region, the central region, and specifically our division to start the season, the red division at the time, where they focused a lot of their efforts. But throughout the league, especially as the year went on, they covered more and more of the ABA, and they got more and more recognition for that, as they deserve. So let's jump over there, check out some of their cool graphics. And give me a second here so I can remember how to get the screen to pop over there. And I still have not fixed the keyboard, so I'm still using the stylus here, touch screen for everything. Okay. So the first game right there between the Austin Bats and the Silicon Valley Panthers, you see there a 2-point game. 111 to 109, extremely close matchup, as you would expect between the final four teams, best teams in the nation. But the Austin Bats prevailed. The lowest of the four seeds when it came to that weekend. But they were able to get the win there, 23-1. That put them, and then obviously handing the Panthers their first loss. I feel like it's gonna have a spoiler here on the one side, so just blind your eyes on that. We'll scroll. Yeah, whatever. You can see it. You probably heard it already, anyways. But the other game was 118 to 104 victory for the Buffalo Extreme. Extreme, obviously very, very solid team throughout the season. Aces, did an amazing job this season with that being their first and only loss, finishing, in the top four in the championship four. But, as many of these teams did, face some adversity throughout the home stretch of the season. Some of their top guys going to other leagues and such. But regardless, a very impressive season for the Nashville Aces, undefeated regular season, and finished the season, including the playoffs, at 23-1, with their only loss being here in that championship four. That led to a matchup then, obviously, between the Buffalo Extreme and the um, Austin Bats, coming up for that Sunday. And then we'll just jump right into that. The Austin Bats, the only team with a loss entering the weekend, were the only team to walk away with a championship trophy. They got a 112 to 105 victory in that championship matchup, where they were crowned the 2025-2026 ABA champions. That's they took down the number one, the number two team in the league, respectively. And as you can see there, they in the semifinal game, the Bats came down from double-digit deficits twice, against the Panthers. In the title game, they also took down a double-digit deficit as well. And as you see here, again, this is over from Minotaur. And, congratulations to everybody from the Austin Bats. And you can see there, their very own Eric was out there in Atlanta to call the game. And it does look like they're going to have the game up in the next month or so. So be sure to keep an eye out for that, in the future. But there you see there the graphic for the final four of the championship weekend in the ABA, with the Austin Bats being your champions for 2025-2026. So that is, obviously getting guys caught back up, as far as the ABA season, this ABA season goes. For the Instigators, we've already talked about this, the past few times. Our best regular season record, our best overall record, our first winning season on the year. Obviously, most wins in a regular season, and first time we were in the playoffs and first playoff victory. So lots of good things for the Instigators this year that we're going to continue to grow on. Um, obviously the goal is to keep growing and going further. But to start off, obviously a good season for the Instigators. But let's see if we've got some stats over on the other side. Like that's a no for there. That also looks like a no. Okay, so I guess it doesn't even matter to jump over there. Um, It's gonna jump over to the ABA site, my stats online, but it looks like they don't even have the stats up there anyways. So it really doesn't make any difference to jump over there. Right. But yeah, so I mean that wraps up the 2025-2026 ABA season. Um, for the ABA. We're gonna have some highlights. I kind of slacked on that. I had some highlights that were going up um, that I guess I did not schedule them to all get posted when I was away for a bit. So this weekend I'll get caught back up on that. You'll see some more coming out, but we'll start getting back into the swing of things. You'll see some highlights from this past season for your instigators. Um, obviously we actually have some other cool news here as well. But you'll see we're gonna probably, I think, kind of I feel like we're going to cut a lot of these like 10, 15-second clips that we've been posting. And if you've been watching them, be sure to like them. And if you like one style versus another, also comment on that because, I cut these highlights and stuff. So if there's a specific type of highlight you like, let me know and I'll try to focus more on those. Whether that's obviously, I feel like dunks is always going to be one of the higher performing contents for basketball. And then obviously, with that, the more intensity, I feel like the more views you get with the dunks. But there's also other types of plays you're going to see, fast breaks, defensive plays. But let us know if there's something particularly like if there's a play that you remember vividly from these this past year. Let us know, and I'll make sure that gets cut in there. And then also the types of edits that I'm doing on them. You'll see some more traditional stuff. You'll see some more. Um, I wouldn't say new school. I'd say more like middle school. I'm just joking. Like stuff like I would have seen back then. But try to get the views. So if there's some particular editing that you see that you do like, let us know that because obviously I want to get the highlights put together in the way that that everybody feels is the best way for the content to be pushed out. But you'll see like our first couple that we did were more of the traditional style. The last one that I put out was more of like I guess you could say like an MLG inspired type of video. And I think the next one we're going to put out is also more of that nature. But we're going to be continuing to push those out. If you like one versus the other, let me know, and then I'll try to push more out in that tone, so that way we can get more and more views. Obviously, we want to continue to build and build going into the off season. We're in April now. What did we start last year? Was October. So we got like half a year until the season picks back up at this point. So we're gonna have tryouts here in the near future. Obviously, once we get the stuff together to that, we will put announcements out and be sure to push that not only on here on the podcast but also on the social media side. So be on the lookout for that in the near future. Obviously that's coming up, and we're going to continue to push more content out going in the off season. So if there's something particular that you have an idea for that you would like us to see, not only for the Instigator side of stuff, but for the Apex Athletic Collective side of stuff as well. Obviously we have the Patreon, and thank you to everybody who is a member over there, where you can have your input heard. We have the fan voter tier, where you have that same decision level input as the owners, such as myself. But that's we also build content off of that. We've had in the past amateur night. I feel like we're going to be working on that again, going into this off season. The amateur night or something of that nature, with more content coming up. That way we have your more content, obviously, to keep you guys busy and enjoying the stuff that we've got building throughout the off season, with the Apex Athletic Collective. Then also what we're building on in the future, trying to make that foundation. I feel like not just myself but all of us, we're trying to make that next step up, especially after this past season, with what we did with the Instigators. I feel like that was kind of like a validation for especially for myself. I feel like to hit the season three, to complete season three, for myself and a lot of us who came from the fan controlled side of things. We completed 3 seasons, which that's a huge milestone for us, because when we came from fan controlled football, obviously they only completed 2 seasons. So that was always one of our big goals, was to make it to that season three, but not only to make it, to be successful and complete that season three, which we have done. And I feel like each year we have continued to get better and better and improve, and obviously that's what we want to do. And obviously we also kind of blew up a little bit this year with the that one social media post, obviously with the help of our celebrity player. And that's another thing I didn't even mention as far as what we did this past year and this season, was we had our very first ever celebrity player. We won the game with him, and he won the hearts of the nation, actually the world. We had over 5 million views on social media across platforms, of his stat line, the one and only Brayton Laster. We're gonna have to get him on here in the off season at some point. He is in his season though, so that's obviously why we're gonna have to arrange it properly, because he is busy racing, a limited part-time schedule, with a couple of ARCA teams. And then obviously, if anything else opens up, he's always willing to jump into that. I think he's got some races this weekend, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see if I've got the inside scoop on that. But I believe he was racing. It looked like a dirt car this weekend. He is. It looks like he is running in Brownstone Speedway this weekend. Tomorrow, actually, he will be doing that. So that's what he's got this weekend. And then obviously, if you don't follow him already, follow him. Keep up to date to see what he's up to. As far as his schedule, um, and we've got probably a couple of months. Yeah, I think it's in July, if I'm not mistaken. The race. returns back to IRP. Obviously we were out there this year, this past year, 2025, for the ARCA race there, ARCA and NASCAR Truck Series. I think we're going to try to do that again this year, but we were riding along with Brayton Laster for that race. Hopefully, we can do that again this year. Speaking of that, Lionel, the manufacturer for the official diecast of NASCAR, just shared an image the other day, which I happened to come across. And actually, give me a second here because I got to get that pulled up. Actually, I don't have it pulled up. I'm sure you can figure what it is because I'm working on it. But they shared an image of some of their new like prototypes that they got in. So now we've got it loaded. Here we go. What could it be? All right. So as you can see there, like I said, they're the manufacturer of the diecasts for NASCAR. As you can see there, a whole bunch of different cars there. Big ones, small ones. If you see all the way in the back in the top, you even have the haulers. They do. Yeah, actually, you can zoom in. They got haulers back here. So they do everything as far as like NASCAR and NASCAR associated stuff. They make all the diecast, all the little cars. But you see there a pickle truck, little toy cars. Got all these boxes here for the big ones, loose ones here with the small. But you see all these big ones here. You got your famous guys. The guys that if you're familiar with NASCAR at all, that you can see there. You can see even on the boxes here as far as some of the names. Connor Zillage, Corey Heim, Ryan Blaney, we got Jesse Love, Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, NASCAR Cup champions. But right there, smack dab in the middle, that '06, that was our car. That was the car that we were on for the race in IRP this past year. Brayton Laster's number '06 for Wayne Peterson Motorsports. The Peerless Pump number '06 Toyota Camry, that race there. That is an officially licensed NASCAR diecast, ARCA diecast for Brayton Laster. But what is really special about that? Our logo is on there. That it is on there. There's a zoomed in picture here, and I don't know how far we can. Yeah, okay. Let's get the zoom in picture. Let's share this one instead. Yeah, we've got this one. There you go. There's a closer picture. A closer picture. Obviously we don't have these yet, so we can't, show it off yet. But that is what we're looking at. That is Brayton Laster's number '06 from the very IRP race that we were at. If you were there, we had a booth there. It was lots of fun, and hopefully we're back on his car again this year. I definitely think we're going to plan on doing that. But let's see. Does it zoom in? I think it's zooming in. Yeah, I think it's yeah. It is. It's zooming in. Okay. Again, I don't have a keyboard or anything, so I'm trying to figure this out. But so you can see there, it's a little blurry, and this is the only picture we have because this was like from Lionel. Lionel put this out. Um, but you can see there, a little blurry because it's zoomed in so far. The Peerless Pump on the hood, on the side. Got the Arca Menards on there on the top. Laster on the back. You can kind of make out some of these smaller ones. You got his name rail there, the Pizza Man, Brayton Laster, with his logo. But you can see all the way on the bottom there on the quarter right there, the corner where that red stripe goes through is our logo. I don't know if you can see it. Does it show? Oh, I won't be able to tell. But if you can see where this little magnifying glass is, and where that red stripe is, all the way in the back corner, that is where our logo is. You guys voted for that logo, and you voted for it to be placed right there. Um, and I mean, that is really cool. I don't think there's a single other ABA team that I know of that has their own diecast coming out. So that is going to be released here in the near future. Let me see if they have an official release date yet. If not, I just know it's soon. Which, if you're part of that from the fan control side of things, I know you guys hate when we say that soon, but it is soon because there's a prototype there, so we do know it is coming out soon. The estimated shipping date. Here we go. They do have an estimated shipping date. The very end of June. June 30th, 2026 is the estimated shipping date. I can pull this up. So there's your first look at it. That is blurry, but I thought I had another picture. Another picture is even blurrier than that, so it's not even gonna work. But yeah, so that is out. The Not the car yet, but the prototype. The prototype is out. And if you haven't already ordered yours, you can order yours a couple of different ways. So you can obviously, go and order it from Brighton directly. Let's get that pulled up. And I would recommend to do it that way because if you get it from Brayton himself, it also you can get it signed, and it also includes a special hero card that is only available directly by purchasing it through him. The other way you can do it is going through Lionel. Obviously the official manufacturer, the one that leaked that photo. Um, you can do it through them as well. But for my opinion, I feel that you should do it through Brayton because you can get it directly through him, and you can also get that signed, and you can also pick up some other Brayton merch at the same time. You can even get Brayton Instigators jerseys if you really want. So you got that too. But let's go over here. So this is over on Brayton's site. You can buy the diecast. It's $15 over on his for the signed version. It's signed for $15. You get that 164 diecast little toy car. And again, you get that special hero card, and it's autographed. But you see there the little render. Let's see, you can see the Instigators logo right there. But you can do it through there, or you can go over on the Lionel website for $11.75. So literally, it's only like $3 more. You can go ahead and order it and get it signed and get it directly from Brayton, and you get the bonus hero card. My opinion, definitely worth that. But you can see there over on the Lionel site, this is their official rendering. This is going to be more of what the actual car is going to be, like what we see in that on that picture. But you can see there, right through that red stripe there, in that back corner, you see the Instigators logo in the state of Indiana. It's not only there, but it's also here too. It's on both sides of the car. So regardless of which side the car is going to be facing, we are going to be on there. And it should be a pretty cool. And you can actually see his little pizza logo there too. But you can see our logo on that diecast there. And you can see it's pretty cool. But that'll be awesome. Definitely super stoked. Really looking forward to that. But it looks like I got a couple more months until then. I just seen the picture. I didn't realize that we're still a few months out. But first rendering is always cool to see the prototype for that. And actually, let's see. Give me and minimize that. As you can see here, so like obviously I'm a NASCAR fan. This one is a JJ Yeley diecast, but you can see. So this is going to be how they normally come for the 164s. Is in these little boxes here. But you can see it's normally like in this little box. But where our logo is going to be is like right there. So as far as how it looks on these little die cast. When you get in a box like this, you should be able to see our logo pretty well from the outside. I feel like so. You guys did a great job for voting for that. Obviously, cool logo. It's our logo, but and shout out to 2Z. That's our guy, 2Z Designs, for the Instigators logo. I think this is probably his first time with a logo on a NASCAR. Could be wrong. Could be totally wrong. But I know he is a NASCAR fan as well, if I'm not mistaken, a 2311 and Bubba Wallace fan. So super cool for not only us but for him to be on the car and to have an officially licensed NASCAR diecast through Lionel with our team logo on there. But obviously, hopefully that's the first of many cool things we've got coming up for how exclusive being a part of the Instigators are compared to other teams within the ABA. Um, but that I think is probably really all I'm going to cover in tonight's episode. Again, I'm kind of just ramping back up as far as getting things back into the swing of things with getting back from all the travels and vacation and such. Next week I'll definitely work on getting a little bit more stuff put together. Maybe some of our key points from this past season, things to hit on with that. Maybe a game by game breakdown, um, and maybe a season overview, a more in-depth season overview. I guess we could do. Obviously, we're going to have to try to get Brayton out here at some point as well, to not only speak on his diecast, but his performance as the first ever Hoosier State Instigators celebrity player, having a positive plus minus, and breaking the internet with over 5 million views as the celebrity player, putting up the Tony Snell stat line. If you didn't see it already, it's a Tony Snell stat line. Um, but obviously lots of cool things going on. Even though the season just ended, we've got lots of stuff we are working on behind the scenes. As we get stuff more, solidified to the point where we can make announcements, that's when we're going to be doing that. And even once we get close enough that we can kind of start saying some stuff, then we'll share that too. Because we definitely never give you guys a inside look. No, we always do that. We'll always give you guys an inside look if we can, from the owner's perspective as well. So that's what we got for you guys. Keep an eye out over the next few weeks. We're going to be putting out again. I'm going to be working on more of those highlight tapes. And again, the bottom part of my laptop doesn't work. It's all touchscreen right now, so editing is a little bit difficult. That's why it's um, again. I asked if you guys have any input. Let me know so that I know which ones to focus on, and then it's a little bit easier for me. But regardless, they'll be out. You're going to see more and more of those, especially over the next week. You're going to see some being put out. So keep an eye out for those. I'll probably make a post about this diecast as well. Um, but while we're in the off season, keep an eye out. Follow Brayton. Obviously Brayton Laster. You can follow him, find him as Brayton Laster. On Facebook and Instagram. Over on X, Twitter, whatever it's called now. That there you will find him as the one pizza man, obviously with the nickname. But he is a great follow. Also, if you're local to the area, you can always find him racing some of these more local events too. He's doing the a dirt race this weekend, I do believe. And then keep an eye out for his ARCA schedule. He's doing a limited schedule, but I do know he is planning on being back at IRP this year. I think we're planning on being back on the car for IRP this year too. So that's what you got coming up. As far as the Instigators, though, in the near future, I think we're going to be having some tryouts. Once we get our first official tryout squared away, you'll see the post about that. You'll hear about it on the podcast. You'll see it everywhere. Hear about it everywhere. And no, that is your first opportunity to be a part of the 2026 27 Hoosier State Instigators roster for their fourth season, which is crazy to think we're going to be entering season 4 of Instigators basketball. But again, I think we're going to wrap it up for tonight's episode with that. I know we've also got some other sporting events going on at this time. The NBA playoffs are going on right now. They just started up first round, and you also got the NFL draft, which I feel like a lot of people are probably watching as well right now, especially if you're from the wonderful state of Indiana. You've probably just seen yesterday Indiana quarterback Fernando Mendoza going number 1 overall to the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm a Bucks fan, but I still wish Mendoza a wonderful NFL career. I definitely think that's a guy that most of us are rooting for. And it's going to be interesting with him on the Raiders. Obviously the Raiders ownership group with Tom Brady there. I don't know if maybe he'll have some mentoring there, or what kind of mentoring he can even have being employed by Fox as an analyst or color commentator, whatever he is. Interesting how that gets into that all as well. But I think the Raiders have some really interesting prospects on that team. Combining Mendoza with Genti, then obviously you got Brock Bowers too there. Kind of a really good trio of offensive players. That might be a really fun team to watch. But anyways, whatever your team is, hopefully they take whoever you're looking for. I'm a Syracuse grad. Syracuse, I think, has like maybe 2 players that could possibly make it in the draft, but probably are like priority free agents, unless I'm completely blanking and forgetting somebody. I think that is going to be our punter, the guy that was on the field probably the second most of just about any player. Um, Jack Stonehouse, related to the other Stonehouses who have played in the NFL, and Dan Villari, who is everything. He's a tight end, quarterback, running back, whatever you want. He's that. But it's an interesting guy. I don't know. I think it'll be really interesting to see what happens with him in the NFL if he gets kind of like that Taysom Hill treatment or not, because he was a quarterback. He actually went to Michigan initially and transferred to Syracuse. Was a quarterback, then transitioned to tight end. Then Syracuse had no quarterbacks, so then he went back to quarterback, and then they decided to run Wildcat with him. So then he turned into a fullback running back. And then this year they had a quarterback. So then he went back to tight end. And then they lost the quarterback again and they had no quarterback. So then he went back to the Wildcat, tight end, quarterback, running back, fullback, whatever he was, hybrid for everything. So maybe, Taysom Hill esque role he could have in the NFL. Um, But it was pretty cool to see a quarterback with the number 80 something lined up for Syracuse for the past couple of years. But anyways, it's neither here nor there. Anyways, that's it for tonight's episode. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back again as your regularly scheduled 9 p.m. Eastern on Friday nights for the foreseeable future. Instigate Success, building an ABA franchise. This has been episode 123, the official podcast of your Hoosier State Instigators. Again, we're in the off season now, but we'll keep you guys updated with all the news that we have. I think next week we'll do more of a breakdown in depth on some stuff. And when we ever have some more news to get out, we'll be sharing it on here too. But we would not have been able to get through 3 seasons without you guys, the fans, from the very bottom of my heart, and not only mine, but all the owners here. We genuinely thank you guys for being here and tuning in each and every week for not only this podcast, but staying up to date, following us, liking our posts, interacting with us and everything. But thank you to the fans, players, coaches, sponsors, each and every person that has helped us along the way. We truly appreciate you guys. Um, but we're going to keep you guys entertained this off season. Until next time, as always, be great and escape.